can't escape!
Leave me alone!
You can't escape. You can't hide from me. I will find you.
No, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Let me be!
Nena's insecurity grows faster. She felt like she is always being watched after that night incident with the madman.
No, leave me alone!
But
Leave me
deep
alone.
down,
Let me be!
she knew one thing. He was not mad. And if he was not mad, then he was something far worse. And without realizing it, she had just become his next problem. From that night on, Nena stopped feeling safe. Not in the market. Not on the road. Not even inside her mother's house. Because now she knew the truth. Or at least, part of it. The madman was not mad. And if he was pretending, then he was hiding something. Something dangerous. Something connected to the children who had disappeared. She began watching everything. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow made her nervous. Even when her mother spoke to her, she struggled to focus. Because her mind was somewhere else. Watching him. Remembering his voice. His calm voice. Not the voice of a madman. The voice of someone in control. Someone with purpose. Someone hiding in plain sight. Days passed. But the fear did not leave her. It grew. It followed her. It lived inside her. One afternoon at the market, she saw him again. Her heart immediately began pounding. He walked toward her mother's stall slowly, dragging his feet like always. Laughing to himself. Acting. Pretending. Her fingers tightened around her wrapper. She watched him carefully. This time, she noticed everything. His eyes. They were not empty. They were alert. Watching. Calculating. He reached her mother. "Please, Mommy, give me food." Her mother sighed and handed him a small piece of fruit. He took it. Their fingers touched briefly. Nena saw it again. His hands. Clean. Normal. Wrong. He turned his head suddenly. Their eyes met. For a moment. Everything stopped. He stared directly at her. Not like a madman. Like someone who recognized her. Like someone who knew. Her heart froze. Then suddenly, he laughed loudly and walked away. But something had changed. He knew she was watching him. That night, Nena could not hide it anymore. She told her mother everything. The phone call. The clean hands. The way he looked at her. Her mother listened quietly. Her face serious. When Nena finished, silence filled the room. Then her mother spoke softly. "My daughter." She held her hand gently. "This is why I did not want you to return." Nena's chest tightened. Her mother continued. "That man has been here for many years. Long before you left." She paused. "No one knows where he came from." Nena leaned forward. "But mother, he is not mad." Her mother hesitated. Fear flickered in her eyes. Then she forced a weak smile. "Maybe your mind is playing tricks on you." But her voice was not convincing. Because deep down, even she was no longer sure. That night, Nena barely slept. Every small sound made her sit up. Every movement outside made her heart race. And somewhere in the darkness, she felt washed. Days later, her aunt arrived from the city. Her mother had sent word. She was worried. Truly worried. When her aunt saw her, she was shocked. This was not the confident girl she knew. This girl was afraid. Restless. Haunted. "Nena," her aunt said gently. "We are going home. Back to the city. Away from Baramo. Away from whatever was hiding there." Nena did not argue. For the first time in her life, She wanted to leave. Because she knew something terrible was happening. And she was not strong enough to face it alone. Back in the city, her body was safe. But her mind was not. The dreams continued. The madman's face. His voice. His eyes. Watching her. Following her. Waiting. She stopped sleeping. Stopped eating. Stopped living normally. Her aunt watched helplessly. Until one day, she made a decision. She went to the police. She told them everything. At first, they were skeptical. Boromo's disappearances had been reported many times. But there was never evidence. Never suspects. Only rumors. But something about Nena's story was different. Specific. Detailed. Disturbing. So they assigned the case to someone new. Someone young. Someone sharp. Inspector Joshua. He listened carefully as Nena spoke. He watched her body language. Her fear was real. Her memories were clear. When she finished, he leaned back in his chair. Thinking. Then he spoke. I will go to Boromo. Not as a police officer. But as someone else. Someone no one would suspect. Because sometimes, the only way to catch evil is to let evil believe it is safe. Inspector Joshua arrived in Boromo days later. Not in uniform. Not as police. But as a poor trader. His clothes were old. His shoes worn. His appearance harmless. Invisible. He went directly to the palace. The new king received him. Joshua bowed respectfully. My king, I am a trader. I wish to stay here for some time and buy goods to sell in neighboring villages. The king agreed. Boromo needed traders. Needed life. Needed normalcy. Joshua rented a small, broken house. Simple. Quiet. Perfect. Every day, he walked through the village. Watching. Observing. Listening. He learned their routines. Their fears. Their silence. And then, he saw him. The madman. Sitting near the market. Laughing. Begging. Pretending. Joshua watched him carefully. Studied him. Something felt wrong. Something hidden. But he needed proof. Real proof. Because what Joshua did not yet know was that he was no longer the only one watching. The hunter was also being watched. And what he was about to uncover would expose the darkest secret Boromo had carried for 15 years. If you've been drawn into this mystery so far, now is the time to subscribe. Because what Inspector Joshua is about to discover will shock the entire village. And the truth was closer than anyone imagined. Inspector Joshua did not rush. He knew evil did not reveal itself to impatience. So he became part of Boromo. He woke up early. Walked the dusty roads. Sat at the market. Spoke to villagers. Laughed when they laughed. Stayed silent when they stayed silent. He became invisible. And invisible men see everything. Days turned into weeks. He watched the madman closely. Every movement. Every habit. Every detail. He noticed how the madman never slept in the open like other mad people. He noticed how he disappeared at certain times. He noticed how he always returned before morning. He noticed how his madness had patterns. Controlled patterns. Planned patterns. Not random. Not real. One afternoon, Joshua sat at a small stall eating bread and groundnuts. The sun was hot. The air dry. Villagers moved around him without paying attention. Then the madman appeared. Dragging his feet. Muttering nonsense. Begging. Joshua kept eating. Pretending not to notice, the madman stopped in front of the stall owner. "Please, give me food." The stall owner ignored him. Joshua watched quietly. Then he spoke. "Come," Joshua said gently. "I will share mine." The madman turned slowly. Their eyes met. For a split second, Joshua saw it. Clarity. Awareness. Intelligence. Then it disappeared. Replaced by madness. The madman stretched his hand. Joshua placed the bread into it. And felt his palm. Smooth. Clean. Not the hand of a man who slept in debt. Not the hand of a man who lived like an animal. The madman took the bread and walked away laughing. Joshua did not move. But inside, everything changed. Because now he knew. Nena was right. This man was pretending. But pretending for what? And for who? That night, Joshua wrote everything down. Every observation. Every suspicion. Every detail. He needed evidence. Not guesses. Evidence. Days later, something happened. Joshua was sitting with some young men at a stall at night. They were laughing, talking, relaxed. But Joshua was alert. Always alert. Then he saw it. A figure. Moving in the darkness. Carrying something. A bag. A heavy bag. The figure moved carefully. Secretly. Looking around. Avoiding attention. Joshua's heart began to beat faster. He stood up slowly. Trying not to draw attention. The figure turned slightly. And for a brief moment, moonlight touched his face. It was him. The madman. But he was not acting mad. He was focused. Serious. Deliberate. Joshua's instinct screamed. Follow him. But he forced himself to stay calm. He turned to one of the young men beside him. That path? Joshua asked casually. Where does it lead? The young man laughed. That is the path to the stream. Joshua nodded. He sat back down. But his mind was no longer there. Because something terrible was happening. And he was close. Very close. The next morning, cries filled the village again. A grandmother. Screaming. Crying. My granddaughter. She is gone. Joshua's chest tightened. His fist clenched. Because now he knew. The bag. The night. The madman. It was real. He immediately contacted his team in the city. Backup was coming. He could not do this alone. Days later, his team arrived secretly. They dressed like traders. Like villagers. Like nobodies. Invisible. Just like him. Joshua also gained the trust of a young man named Daniel. Daniel knew the village. Every path. Every shortcut. Every secret road. He became Joshua's eyes and ears. One night. It happened again. Joshua saw the madman walking toward the dark path. Joshua signaled his team quietly. No words. Just action. They followed. Slowly. Carefully. Silently. The night was thick with tension. Every step mattered. Every sound dangerous. They followed him deeper. Away from the village. Away from safety. Then, they heard it. His voice. Normal. Calm. Laughing. Speaking into a phone. Yes, the madman said. I have one. Joshua's blood ran cold. I will bring her. Her. Not it. Her. A child. Joshua signaled his team. Now. They moved fast. Emerging from the darkness. The madman froze. Shock filled his face. Real shock. Not madness. Not acting. Real fear. He tried to run. But it was too late. Joshua grabbed him. Forced him to the ground. The phone fell from his hand. His madness disappeared completely. He struggled. Screamed. Begged. But it was over. After 15 years. The ghost of Baramu had been caught. Villagers gathered as he was dragged away. Confusion. Fear. Shock. The madman. The harmless madman. Could it be true? Could he be the one? Joshua looked at him coldly. This man had hidden in plain sight. Lived among them. Watched them suffer. And smiled. But the truth was far worse than anyone imagined. Because this man was not walking alone. And what he was about to confess would shake Baramu to its very core. The entire village followed. No one wanted to be left behind. No one wanted to miss what would happen next. For 15 years, they had lived in fear. 15 years of unanswered questions. 15 years of sleepless nights. 15 years of burying empty graves. And now, the answer was finally in chains. The madman was dragged to the palace square. The same square where festivals once filled the air with laughter. Now, it was filled with silence. Heavy. Painful. Unforgiving. Villagers stood in circles. Whispering. Pointing. Staring. Some could not believe it. Others had already started crying. Because deep down, they knew. The king stepped forward slowly. His face carried the weight of his father's unfinished pain. He looked at the man on the ground. This man, this stranger, this monster, had lived among them. Eaten their food. Walked their paths. Watched their children. The king's voice was calm, but filled with fire. Who are you? The man said nothing. Joshua stepped forward. My king, he said respectfully. He will speak. The madman was taken away. Back to the station. Back to truth. Back to consequences. At first, he refused. He remained silent. Defiant. But silence cannot protect guilt forever. Hours passed. Then days. The interrogation continued. And eventually, he broke. It started with tears. Then shaking. Then words. Words Baramu would never forget. I was not mad. His voice was weak. Broken. I was pretending. Joshua leaned forward. Why? The man looked up slowly. Fear filled his eyes. I was sent here. A chill filled the room. Sent by who? He hesitated. Then answered. My boss. Joshua's jaw tightened. What boss? The man's hands trembled. A powerful man. A rich man. He needed children. Silence fell like death. Joshua felt anger rise inside him. What for? The man began crying. For rituals. The word poisoned the air. For rituals. Joshua felt his fist tighten. For 15 years, the man continued. I took them. One by one. I watched them grow. I waited for the right moment. Then I took them. Villagers who had followed to the station began to cry. Some collapsed. Others screamed. Because now, they knew the truth. Their children had not run away. They had not drowned. They had not disappeared. They had been taken. Stolen. Sold. Sacrificed. Joshua's voice was steady. Why did you pretend to be mad? The man laughed weakly. Because no one suspects a madman. No one watches a madman. No one questions a madman. His words were true. Painfully true. He continued. My boss paid me well. Very well. I sent the money to my family. They believed I was working abroad. They believed I was a good man. Tears rolled down his face. But I was not. I was a monster. Back in Baramu, the entire village gathered again. Joshua stood before the king and told him everything. Every truth. Every horror. Every secret. The king closed his eyes. Pain consumed him. His father had died searching for answers. Answers that had been hiding in plain sight. Among them. Beside them. Watching them. The madman was brought forward. This time, there was no madness. Only fear. Only shame. Only truth. Villagers looked at him differently now. Not with pity. But with hatred. Because he had stolen their future. He had stolen their children. He had stolen their peace. Among the crowd stood Nena. Silent. Still. Watching. Her heart was heavy. But also certain. She was right. She saw what others could not. She listened when others ignored. She questioned when others accepted. And because of her, the truth was finally free. The king stepped forward. His voice carried across the square. For 15 years, we lived in darkness. But today, the truth has been revealed. Villagers began to cry openly. Some hugged each other. Others fell to their knees. Because even though justice had begun, healing would take longer. Much longer. Joshua walked away quietly. His work was done. But he knew something important. Evil does not always look evil. Sometimes, it looks harmless. Sometimes, it looks broken. Sometimes, it pretends. Baramu would never be the same again. But Baramu would never be blind again. And Nena would never forget the night she chose to question fear. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is refuse to ignore what feels wrong. If this story moved you, subscribe now for more powerful African stories of truth, mystery, and survival. Because the next story may reveal another secret hidden in plain sight. And remember, not every madman is mad. Some are just waiting for no one to look closely enough.